Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing good. I was not able to post my YouTube video over the weekend because most of the Indian festivals, right, they happen typically over the weekend, and we had this Navratri, Dashera, Durga Puja celebration the last weekend. So I was busy with my family, but here I am, okay, in the middle of the week to continue our conversation, right, and learning journey around business process, right, basics that we started in our last session where I uh, showed you how to use doc to dom function, right, which is a very important function when you are designing your business process, right. And Those who are new to this channel, I would like all of you to definitely hit the like button, share, and subscribe, and also hit the bell icon for any videos that I post in future, because sometimes it may happen that I may not be able to post in a specific like day or a time. If you are clicking on the bell icon, right, you should be able to get notification as soon as I post a new video, right, even in the mid of the week, just like this week. Now, without further ado, let's get into our topic for today's session. So, we are going to build on top of what we learned in our last class, where we created a business process, a test business process, as a recap, right? Where what we have done is like we have like took couple of assigned services, right, and used some uh, like like constant, right, values you have assigned to some parameters, right, and then the last assigned service that what we have done is we have used what you call doc to dom, which is basically that you give a primary document as an input to the business process when you're executing the business process, and then um, you basically extract some specific information or maybe the entire primary document, right, based on what the specific use cases or the requirements are into the process data, because your process data is the metadata that is actually flowing through all your business processes, right? So your business process needs some inputs and it spits out some output, right? And then it goes to a next and next, right? And that's how the sequence of services and adapters gets executed to achieve a specific outcome, right? Now, so in that last session, okay, we used doc to dom. In this session, okay, we'll do just the opposite, right? So when I say opposite, what I mean to say is we are going to utilize uh, dom to doc, right? Which is basically you have certain information, right, within your process data, and you want to extract that information and create a primary document or a document, okay, within your entire process like execution, okay, that you might need further down the line, okay, for any other service or adapter. So you might need the document to be sent to a specific system, right, based on what is there within the process data. So there are multiple use cases. Okay, I'm just giving you a very high level of why it is needed, but let's get into the practical part of it. So with that, let me quickly share my screen. And yeah, so this is my Sterling Integrator dashboard, and you all know I've shown you the graphical process modeler. So what I have done is, if you remember, like if we do a quick recap of our test business process, and we wrote this test BP, and what I've done, we have executed the latest version, and we have given a sample XML file as an input, and we ran it. And what it did is that it actually went in, and the first assigned service, what it is doing is that is basically assigning 50 as a constant value to a foo parameter, right? And then The next assign statement, what we are trying to do is we are trying to get some specific information from the primary document. So if I open the primary document, if you see this primary document that we have given as an input, which is our sample.xml file, it is just a small test file with some couple of fields and values in that. And what we did using the second assign statement is we took all that information, put it under a header called primary doc info, and put the entire information within that primary doc info tags, right, XML tags. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite of this. Is we're going to take this entire information, this XML tag and the sub tags within that, the information, the fields within that, and put it back into a primary document, right? Now, how to do that? Okay, so there's already a primary document out here, right, which is our input file. Now, before we create another primary document, just not to confuse us, right, with whether this is our input document or whether it is the document that was created using the DOM2Doc function, I'm going to release this primary document after the assign statements. So release statement or release service, if you all are not aware of it, it is one of the services that we use quite frequently within our business processes to drop or to remove some of the unnecessary information within the process data to make the process run much faster, because there are a lot of information that you accumulate, like if there is a business process and certain business processes are very very long, right? Okay, because it has certain loops and all that. So in that case, there are a lot of overhead if you are keeping certain information, stale information within the process data that really don't need, right, for your subsequent services. So if you find, okay, some specific information within the process data that you are no longer going to use it, you just remove them, okay, so that the subsequent business process and the process data becomes little lighter and lighter and lighter, right? And you basically optimize your business process to run much faster, right? Because performance optimization is one of the key area of writing a business process, and a good business process should have all those best practices. So for that, we use release service. You can look into the services and adapters documentation to learn more about it. But what we typically do is release service, you use it and you provide information of what are the process data fields that you want to drop, including the primary document. You can drop the primary document as well all together, right, if you don't need it. So we're going to use that, right, and drop the primary document. Then the next, right after the release, we are going to use another assign service. And within that assign service, we will use DOM2Doc function and then create a primary document out of it, just to show you the use of DOM2Doc in your business processes. Now, for that, let's. So I've downloaded the business process in my local. I have opened my graphical process modeler, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that test BP for all of you, and then let's remove this link and let's bring in one assign statement right here. But then, as I mentioned, just to understand that we are actually creating a primary document, not to confuse with the original primary document. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click all services. And as I mentioned, I'm going to get the release service out here, right? Then I'm going to connect this assign to release, then release connecting to the last assign, and then assign to sequencing. Now, if I double click on the release service, let's select a config and select as release service. And then over here, right, if you see the output message, okay, this is where, like, message to service, you are actually telling the release service to drop the primary document that is in the process data, right, the input file, the sample data, right, which has that test tag, and within those, like, couple of fields as I showed you. So I'm going to click on advanced and click add, and this is where, like, you always mention target as the name, and then you can add, like, you can append primary documents, some other fields, right? You can do like a pipe and then keep adding your, like, whatever tags that you want to, like, the data that you want to release from the processor. So for our case, I'm going to write primary document, and that's just it. I'm going to just drop the primary document, nothing else for our learning. And then in the assign statements, right, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write DOM to doc. So in the from statement, right, is where we're gonna write DOM to. It's case sensitive, so make sure like the DOM all are in capital letters. Then T for in two is capital and D in doc is capital, right? And then I'm gonna give bracket like this, and then I'm gonna write slash slash test, right? That's the, like we're going to take the information from the test field, right? Anything from test and within that test element, right? So we're gonna mention that element name, right? And then comma, and this syntax is there in that BPML documentation that I have shared in my previous video. If you haven't gone through, look into the description of that video. Okay, I have mentioned the BPML where you can download that document to learn more about the syntax of the BPML, and then select no, and then again you need to mention the test element, right? And then you close it with a closing braces. And then two is dot, the entire primary document from the entire, the entire process data you are going to. So what it means is that from entire process data, that's dot, that's how you're telling, okay? And then from within that entire process data, all you're going to put it in the primary document is the information, okay, that's within this test element, right? Anything within that test element, that's how you can read this, right? And then this is pretty much done. I'm going to, okay, save this. So it's going to validate, and validation is successful. I'm going to go to source, take this entire business process source code, go back to my dashboard, go to my source manager, click on edit on the latest version, maybe put it as, I can mention, let's see, uh, v5 dom to doc and release service tutorial, just for whatever you can give your specific information, doesn't matter. Go next. You can just go next, 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 or you can just click on save. But if you just click on save, it's going to save, but it's not going to make the existing version, right, that we are saving, the v5 as your default, right? So I'm going to select the default, and then I'm going to save it now, right? Now once I'm done with that, I'm going to run this business process just to show you now how this thing is working, right? So let's do that. So the, let me return, let's go to the execution manager, and then click on execute, and then I'm going to give this sample file as an input again, and I want to run it. Now very interesting thing will happen that I just spoke about. So if you see over here, right here, so read from the bottom, right, because that's the zero step, right, and go upwards, right? So I've given an input file, so that's why you have this document info tab enabled, and you can see the primary document, you can see the document name, sample.xml, but, and it did the same thing like the previous one that I showed the version, right? So it put that under the primary doc info, the entire information, the test and to from, right? Good. Now, in here, okay, like, so in this process data, if you see, there's a primary document link also. If you want to see the primary document, it comes as a link, right, to that object, right? That's an object, the primary document object. You can see it over here. But in the release service, what I've done is, like, we have told to release or drop the document altogether, right, for our benefit of this session. So if you see, the document info became none. That means the document has been released, right? It's no longer here. You don't see that object right now over here with a hyperlink that you can look into and go into the primary document, right? So release statement did that, right? And then The very next one, okay, if you see over here, okay, where what we have done is we have used DOM2Doc function. It actually created another primary document object, right? Interesting. And if you see the document tab, info button also was enabled because now you have a input document, right? Sorry, now you have a document, right? That has been created by DOM2Doc function. And if you see over here, is the same information from text, right, and all that information within that. So this is how, like, uh, I hope you were able to understood, right, the benefit of using both the doc to doc and doc to doc and release service, how you want to use it within your business processes when you're designing, right? So I hope this was helpful, right? Do some practice, right, within your like applications, okay, whoever has access to their own project related sterling servers, right, and also look into the document that I shared earlier, like in our last session, the BPML, so that you have a better understanding of how these things work. So yeah, with that, I'll conclude my session today. I hope this was useful. Please feel free to comment, right, if you are looking for any additional advice, any specific questions that you have, and I'll try to respond to them as time permits. With that, I look forward to our next session sometime next week, right? With that, and also like festive greetings to all of you. And yeah, see you again. Thank you.